What's up? What's up? What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of Winning at Life Behind Enemy Lines, the podcast where we do nothing but the truth. We talk nothing but the truth. We've kind of been away for a little bit, but we are back, and I'm excited about today's episode. Yep, in honor of Juneteenth coming up on this week, we're talking about, and the title of today's episode is Black Walls, Black Gates, when we block our own, gatekeepers. Yeah, I decided to do this topic. I was kind of inspired to do this topic the last week or so. I was on vacation and got an opportunity to stop through Virginia, Charlottesville. You may know or have heard of Charlottesville, Virginia, for one thing, but it's also known for the plantation that was owned and run by our president at the time, Thomas Jefferson. The name of the plantation is called the Thomas Jefferson Monticello Plantation. Had a fantastic time there. If you ever get an opportunity to go to Charlottesville, Virginia, stop by and tour the Thomas Jefferson Monticello Plantation. We had an awesome time, and it's known for more than being just a plantation that was run by Thomas Jefferson. There's a lot of skeletons there. As a matter of fact, if you would go to the network, I believe it's Tubi, they have a three-part series entitled Sally Hemings, An American Scandal. Sally Hemings, if you did not learn about the Thomas Jefferson plantation in Charlottesville, Sally Hemings was young lady born into slavery. As a matter of fact, Thomas Jefferson was her dad. She was a mulatto born into slavery, and as a matter of fact, between her and Thomas Jefferson, they had several children. But if you get an opportunity to do so, go on Tubi and watch the three-part series, Sally Hemings, An American Scandal. It is amazing. My sister turned me on to it. My sister, who's a school teacher, turned me on to this plantation. She has read on it. She studied on it. She has a lot of literature, and I began to read it, and I just became engulfed and amazed at why this part of our history has not been openly revealed. Not very many people know about it. And so if you get an opportunity, go on. But today we're concentrating on Black Walls, Black Gates, when we block our own in honor of Juneteenth. And so when we're talking about gatekeepers, when we're talking about our own who keep the gates, what we're talking about is stepping into some deep waters and telling the truth about our progress, about our lack of unification, about our lack of communication amongst African American people. Yes, we received, we were freed in 1865, and shout out to all of our ancestors from Galveston, Texas, who received the information, who received the information that they had been freed 2 years after emancipation, and thus we celebrate Juneteenth. But today I want to talk about where we're stepping into the lack of getting rid of that gatekeeper syndrome. Yep, it's our Juneteenth special, a time when we reflect on our freedom, our progress, and also the unfinished work that we have to do. Black walls, black gates, when we block our own. Specifically, how some of us, once we get through the door, we close it behind us, we shut the door, we lock the gates, and we lock out a lot of our own and just leave us standing at the door knocking. I'm not talking about individuals, once again, who lack the withedness, who lack any type of direction, who is not walking in their purpose, who is not ready. I'm talking about those of us who continuously knock on doors only to find out it is those that look like us who are keeping us out. Let's unpack that. Let's heal from it. And let's talk about how to fight back with purpose, not hatred. Gatekeeper syndrome. It's real. It's real, y'all. When someone, often a member of a marginalized group of people, who gains access to power, influence, jobs, what have you, or status, when they begin to guard the gates, like it's here's where all the gold is, like it's not enough room in the middle or at the top, like it's what's in it just for me, or you got to get it like I got it. I'm not talking about those who have no hustle, who are not working toward their purpose. I'm talking about individuals that come stacked and ready to walk in to those gates. If you're not going to open them, at least show up at the gate and see what people want. A few Black folks who gained a little bit of power and access, they often feel like they have this protectedness. They lean a little bit more toward white power, white influence, in terms of there's no room for anyone else up here except me. That mindset evolved. The syndrome evolved from Jim Crow, civil rights era, and even today into a toxic cycle of competition, scarcity mindset, as if there's no room for us all at the top. Here's what it says. It whispers, if too many of us get in, they'll kick all of us out. It screams, there's only room for one of us. It acts like, I got mine, you got to get yours. Here's how you know you're up against a gatekeeper, someone that looks like you. You'll feel it when you're qualified, but kept out of the room. You ask for membership and you get the runaround. My mom used to have, when I was growing up, and many of you can probably attest to this. My mom had a table. It looked like a round table, but if you pull it out on both ends, you can put an extra piece at the table where other people can come to the table and eat. Or it looks like this. You hear, you're not qualified, you're not ready yet, but you're overqualified. I recently met with a group of pastors in a city, and I presented a program that I wanted to do for young people over the summer. Many of you might know that I started FLY, and FLY stands for Financial Literacy for You, and I wanted to have a summer camp. I laid it all out. Now, I would consider myself qualified in the area because I've had the opportunity, and a few doors have been opened in the past where I presented the Fly program, had much success. Gatekeepers, I would consider them gatekeepers. They never got back with me. They never said, "Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, let's try and work together on this." Keeping the gates. Here's another way you know when you hear this. You only get a cosigner on it if you look, and I don't mean in appearance, look like the gatekeeper. I mean you mirror their values, their social status, or their beliefs. It cuts deeper when it's one of your own, though, because we expect much more, because we need each other. Yeah, Juneteenth, we got the message of June 1865. This is now 2025. And many people are still walking around blaming the other man when all we have to do is not keep the gates of those who are ready to walk in and contribute. What do you do? I've often asked myself, what should I do when I feel like I'm locked out? Let's just be clear. Gatekeeping ain't new, y'all. I could imagine at the Thomas Jefferson Monticello plantation, many of the slaves probably, or a few of them, they probably were gatekeepers. They probably thought Sally Hemings and her mulatto children who stayed in the house, who served in the house, were gatekeepers. I doubt it, but that's what some slaves probably thought. Here's what you do, though. Here's how to dismantle that. Here's how you move when it's you knocking at the door and the door won't open because there's someone that looks like you who's keeping you out of the gates. Don't internalize that rejection. Their no isn't a reflection of your value. Just their insecurity or alignment with broken systems may all that might be. You've got to continue to document your excellence in what you're doing and why you deserve an opportunity, why you deserve to be let into those gates, why you deserve a seat at the table. Keep a portfolio, save all your wins. If you're trying to build a business, make sure that you have a business plan that is not only presentable, but you're solving an issue, you're solving a problem. Build your brand. Let your work speak for itself when they won't speak, when they guard the gates. And if you can't go through the gates, then go around them. If the front door is locked, check the side door, check the back door, check the roof, go through a window. Go through a window. Climb on top of the roof and go through the roof. But you've got to find your way. We've got to find our way behind those gates. Find or build a community that supports what you're doing. Create rooms where people that look like you are welcome. Partner with those who remember who remember where they come from and remember their own struggle, how difficult it was to get into those gates. I am glad that in salvation, though, that God's our only gatekeeper. Because if he had left it up to man, if he had left it up to one another, we wouldn't be letting some people in that didn't, quote unquote, look like us. Here's what I do, though. I call it out. I'm calling out all the gatekeepers. It doesn't matter where you are, where you sit. If you're in entertainment, if you're in religion, if you're in the church, if you're on the job, if you're in housing, if you're gatekeeping, and if you're keeping others that look like you out, shame on you. With grace and truth, I call it out. Gatekeeping loses its power when it is exposed. Use your platform, use your voice. Whenever you see it, call it out. Call out individuals who have no reason to be a spook at the door and gatekeep. Call them out. Shame them. Shame them for that. If you've got a worthwhile product and you've put forth the effort, call out the people who won't let you in, who won't even listen to you, who won't even hear you. We cannot fight white supremacy or any prejudice on Monday and be gatekeepers on Friday. We're fooling ourselves if we think that that is a way to get ahead. If you're in a position of influence and you are afraid of sharing it, that's not leadership. That's fear. That's fear. That's selfishness. That's not wanting those who, quote unquote, look like you in. It's not leadership at all. It's fear. We need more people to build a bridge, open doors, hand out keys. Not because everybody deserves it, not because anyone deserves a handout, but because everyone deserves a fair shot. In my profession, I have been fortunate enough to meet individuals who were trying to get in the gates. And I knew they weren't ready, or in my mind, I thought they were not ready. I opened the gate anyway and let them in and gave them an opportunity. I will never forget. I gave a man an opportunity once to bring a program to a program that I was over. Worked out the contract, worked out the money, worked out everything. This brother came, presented the program, got paid, and never said another word to me. I didn't keep the gate. I didn't keep it locked. I let him in. Those people, those individuals who do not return the favor, those that look like you, who won't let you in, who won't let out the round table and put a piece in it so you can sit at the table, those individuals need to be called out. Gatekeeping is just another form of systemic oppression. Oh, yeah, you can be oppressed by those that look like you too. It's time out for always blaming things, blaming our conditions on people that don't look like us, when we have the opportunity to work together, to open the gates, to hand out the keys, to extend the tables and allow others to sit at the table. Wearing black skin and a designer suit ain't always the option. And on this celebration, on this honor of Juneteenth, I'm calling out all individuals, all groups who are gatekeepers. If you're keeping the gate, and gatekeepers necessarily aren't just those individuals out there that don't look like you. Gatekeepers are everywhere. They're in your family. Yeah, through jealousy, through envy, through not just wanting you to make it. It hurts me to the core to see and know people are struggling and working hard, trying to get in, and they've got a gatekeeper. They've got someone standing in the way. They've got someone holding the keys. So in honor of Juneteenth on 2025, let's not just celebrate that those chains were snatched off of us. Let's not just celebrate the freedom that we all should enjoy, but let's get rid of the mindsets that keep us from rising together. Gatekeeping within the Black community is a betrayal of everything our ancestors died, bled, and fought for. It creates invisible walls. There should be open doors, not invisible doors, not gates that are chained and locked. And too many talented, brilliant, qualified African American people, Black people, descendants of slaves, are left outside, knocking, because someone who looked like them forgot where they came from. Let this be the year. Let 2025, the remainder of it, be the year we break the gates open, build, and are able to sit at the table together, concentrating on what our goals are, and stop confusing proximity of power with progress. Because real progress, y'all, if I get through, here's what real progress means. If I get through, I'm bringing somebody else with me. Period. I'm not going to guard the gates. I'm not going to guard the gates. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode with me. Thanks for joining us today on Winning at Life Behind Enemy Lines. If this hit home, share the episode, write a comment. Go to the comment section on my YouTube channel and write a comment. And let's talk about it. I appreciate all of the support of all you who tune in to the show and give your comments. Hashtag Black Excellence. Hashtag Break the Gates. Hashtag Winning at Life Behind Enemy Lines. Thanks for joining me today. And remember, if we're going to win the battle, we've got to stop guarding the gates.